The two men most responsible for the suffering, deaths, war crimes, and displacement of civilian refugees in the Ukraine-Russia war. First, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky and his government must shoulder most of the blame. In 2015, Ukraine entered into the Minsk agreements with Russia to end the fighting in the Donbass region of eastern Ukraine near its border with Russia after mediation with France, Germany, and Belarus. For several years, separatists had sought to break away from Ukraine's corrupt national government and gain freedom and independence for the people of eastern Ukraine in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Russia had provided arms and munitions to the separatists who had strong ties to Russia, particularly those Russians of Cossack ethnicity. The Minsk Agreement sought to provide peace to the region. Donetsk and Luhansk would self-govern, but would permit the national government of Ukraine to provide military defense and conduct international relations in a federalist type of government system. After years of skirmishes between the separatists and the Ukrainian federal government, Ukraine's President Zelensky made clear in 2021 that Ukraine had no intention of adhering to the Minsk agreement in which it had entered. That triggered the crisis which eventually resulted in Russian President Vladimir Putin declaring that eastern Ukraine was independent and that Donetsk and Luhansk were independent nations from Ukraine in February 2022, which ultimately resulted in the war that we're now seeing. Zelensky's unwillingness to negotiate a peace settlement both with his own people in eastern Ukraine and later with Russia and Putin has prolonged the war in which Russia has accomplished its primary strategic military objectives. Second, unpopular American President Joe Biden shoulders a large part of the blame. The United States has little, if any, strategic interest in Ukraine, but the Biden family has a big economic interest, particularly Biden's son Hunter. Biden has sought to gain popularity by supporting Ukraine in its fight with Russia and has shown a willingness to spend vast amounts of American tax dollars, more than $40 billion, 100 times what the U.S. spends in a year on the U.S. Border Patrol, has gone to Ukraine, with about a quarter of those funds just disappearing into the mist. American weapons and munitions have prolonged the war, but the Ukrainian people are the main people who are suffering as a result. It's time for the war to come to an end.